Hello, everyone. My name is Alvin. Usually, this show is called ADB Football Focus, and it still will be ADB Football Focus for my football fans out there. But for my UAB folks, this message is going out to you guys and maybe some Alabama folks. So, actually, it really needs to go out to Alabama, but I want my UAB folks to hear this message too. Shout out to the guys over there, Blazer Victory Podcast. I will be mentioning your name today. I am not associated with. Um, Blazer Victory podcast. But if you guys check them out, they do an awesome job covering UAB basketball and football. You guys are awesome in what you do. I am an old UAB football player, 92 to 95. I'm not even from the beginning, though. 91 was the first year. Those guys did everything to get it going. The football program is actually older than that. I think it was 1988. It was a club football team. So they've been playing. They had been playing several years before I got there. I had heard about it. I just wanted to play football. I was straight out of high school. I played the last 2 years of high school, so I just wanted to play football. And UAB gave me that opportunity to play football. The other guys didn't know. I got noticed in one game. That was against, we played Homewood, and Robert Davis was there. And I came up against Robert Davis. I tackled him twice, and he ran over me one time. Yep, that's right. I can admit it. It happened. But Robert Davis ended up playing for UAB too. He was my teammate in '95. So shout out to Robert Davis wherever he is. So here's my disappointment with things that happen at UAB. It's been a long fight. I remember the first one came when the bot tried to mess with us after uh, UAB beat Alabama in basketball. And most of y'all don't remember that because people are talking about. I've had people literally who don't even remember the game say, well, if Alabama ever played UAB in basketball, they dominated the game. They didn't then. We've actually beaten Auburn on a couple of occasions. So I don't want to hear about who can dominate who because that ain't true when it comes to basketball. Football, we've beaten LSU. We've beaten Mississippi State. We've also beaten several other FBS teams in our lifetime. But as far as SEC teams go, that's who we beat. Let's get that out of the way. But that was the first time I remember the bot messing with us. You know, I knew the bot was a problem beforehand, sort of, while I was playing there because I kept on hearing little things. Um, that was part of the reason why we couldn't upgrade our facilities. And the one thing that pissed me off, I remember one year we were using Legion Field. Legion Field was tied to several things. It was a mess. Then okay, one game that I remember they had some classic there, and we had to get out of the stadium as soon as our game was over, so that Moorhead and and Miles College or somebody like that, Moorhead and somebody was playing. I think it was Tuskegee. Were playing at the stadium, so we had to get out after that. But the one year I remember we had to actually play at this little place called Lawson Field, which is a high school field, because Alabama was playing across town at Legion Field, and they weren't playing until 7 o'clock that evening. But we would interfere with the fact that they have the tailgate and all that stuff out there because we actually had played before, and Alabama tailgate was outside. And some of those folks would come in and watch the UAB game. Literally, that was true. That had happened before. We played the game. They would go spray the field, put the Alabama logo and everything on, and then they go play their game afterwards. But this day, for whatever reason, that's when I realized something was different. I know we were on a different level of football, then it was okay. Then I remember that happening again after I played football, where they UAB football team had to go play at the Hoover Met. Then Alabama finally decided to move down Tuscaloosa. Some Alabama fans were pissed off, like it's all UAB's fault that Alabama had to move out of Legion Field. Legion Field was aging, and the repairs weren't coming like they wanted, and the upgrades weren't coming like they wanted. Meanwhile, Bryant-Denny Stadium was being updated and all that down there. They're spending money on that. They were spending money on getting that done down there, so they did. You know, Alabama for a while was still leasing time up here and played games. Auburn was leasing time up here, and then they went to their stadium, Jordan Hare. And anyway, Legion Field was our stadium. It was our home. We didn't play to the big crowds. We didn't have the huge crowds that we have now. That's where the history begins. But I also remember how Alabama was messing with us then. So after that basketball game in '93, there was talk and rumors about Alabama saying something about the budget and all this about our sports programs and all this. So they started messing with it. There was a huge protest on campus. Those things back then used to generate enough news where people were like, whoa, let me get out of here. Okay, we'll back off a little bit. They backed off a little bit, but it was still there. Coach Brown was running into things. He wanted new facilities. We got a new locker room. He redid the football field. They got that done. And they got a whole bunch of equipment we didn't have before because we were each other's tackling dummies for the first 3 years I was there. Then we got uh, blocking sleds and all this stuff. We had all the equipment, the shoot. We got all of that stuff that we didn't have the years before, and we were playing and winning. Lo and behold, he gets all of that. So they redid the field and all that. We get a new locker room. We move into it, and I think it was the last 3 weeks of my college career. We move into that new locker room, and that was it for years. For years, we shared the weight room with the basketball team, with the track team, with the baseball team, and everybody else. All that was shared together. They had better locker rooms. They had more space than we did as a football team. The basketball team had nice locker rooms. They had the couches and everything in there. We were just starting to get all that stuff, and we had to share the arena with them. So we kind of in their way, and they vice versa. We were all in each other's way. So that was that way for years. That wasn't until Clark got here, and that was in 2000. That was in 2014. But there were some other battles that came in between that. So before Ray Watts, the current president of the school, got there was another young lady that was there. She was an academic person. She supported UAB football, but she was an academic person. And she was sent there as an academic person on purpose. But she decided to get herself involved in the UAB football program because she saw what the value was of having a football team at the school and helping the campus to grow. So she put a proposal on the table for a 27,000 seat stadium. 27,000 seats, not even the size of Protective Stadium today, which is 40,000 seats. She put that on the table. The school told her, no, we didn't have the money in the budget, and that wasn't going to happen. Even though she had showed how private funds were available, that there were enough private funds where they wouldn't have to work, private and local funds available where they really wouldn't cost the university anything. Bott said no. Then came the coach search. We had a good local coach, a guy who was an alumni of my high school, John Carroll, and had went to Auburn and had won the Heisman Trophy. We had him. He was a good coach. He would have been a great coach to replace Brown. The school said no to that too, so he ended up going to Sanford, and we got Callaway. That was their choice. Callaway, a guy who was a offensive line coach at Georgia, supposedly an offensive guru or coordinator. He's actually the co-coordinator with, I believe it was Mike Rich was the coach there at the time. He was a co-coordinator. He wasn't even the coordinator of the football team. In other words, he didn't really lead in. He led a section of the team, the offensive line. He had never been a head coach or anything like that, or been in the administrative part of a team in any kind of way. But they brought this guy here. Callaway suffered through 5 years. The team looked way worse than it did. Then they had this whole academic thing that was going on. Then so you can't get Prop 40 students there. You're on academic probation according to the bot, not NCAA. The bot. We were on academic probation. We had to improve the grades of our students, get more. Now, let me explain something. At the time, we were graduating more students in Alabama. We still do. We graduate 75% of our players, 79 to 80% of our players. 80% of our players end up with a degree. I think it's 75 at Alabama. But anyway, so there was a lot of talk about what we needed to do. We need to get the finances in order at UAB and all this. Guess what else happened? Remember the president I was talking about? They made her retire. They said, oh, it's time for you to retire. Because she brought that stadium proposal up there. She was doing all this stuff for the football team. They didn't want that to happen. The bot at that time had one particular member that we all talk about all the time, and that's Bear Bryant Jr., who really was going to do anything for Alabama. Was not. He said anything else would hurt Alabama. Y'all understand this about UAB, about Alabama, UAT. They don't play any team in the state other than Auburn. And that's because at some point the legislature mandated that they had to play them. And then Auburn got in the SEC and it was in the same division of the SEC for years with them, right? That's the only reason they play Auburn. They won't play Sanford. They won't play Jack State. They won't play Troy. They won't play South Alabama. They won't play Alabama State or Alabama A&M. They won't play North Alabama. They won't play West Alabama or any of them. They ain't gonna play none of them. Even the ones that ain't no threat to them, they don't play them. They are the school in Alabama. That's what people are taught in this school, that they are the school. So when UAB gets a football team, they're rebelling against Alabama is the notion given by this small percentage of Alabama fans with problems. And like I said, it's not everybody. So shout out to the Alabama fans who are UAB fans. This is not about you. This is not about the Alabama fans who just don't, UAB. So they got a team. Big deal. Not to them. It's the ones who got money, who worship Alabama like a fraternity, and everybody else got to be hurt. So here's something else I'm going to tell you about UAB. You know what's important in college football today? One of the most important things in college football today is revenue. NIL money. NIL money is given by TV revenues, ad revenues, all those things that college football can do. Because now they're talking about how they're going to divide the money. The big guys are going to get 60%, and everybody else is going to get 40%. That's going to be the new future. So that, places like Alabama will get $25 million, whereas a team like me might be lucky to get $2 million. And it's all because of TV. ESPN is the number one college thing, right? Right behind the CBS or Fox and then CBS. Those are the top things. And there's a whole bunch of streaming networks, which is becoming more and more popular, but it's taking some time. For a while, when we were on Conference USA, all the time you could watch us was on Stadium or BN. That's changing. Let me explain something about Birmingham. Birmingham is 48th TV market. Y'all can look this up because I'm not telling you a lie. The 48th TV market. We were talking about that over here on the side when I do the show for the USFL or UFL. Sorry, when I do this show talking about the UFL, Birmingham is a 48th TV market. It's above New Orleans and above Memphis as far as TV markets go for the UFL. So it's above a lot of other money. So it's a market that people want in their division. That's why we got AC, because we got a good TV market. And we may be even being looked at by the Big 12, not the Pac-12 so much, but the Big 12 and the ACC, because they need, there's like when they see a TV, like, we can put them in there and they can push up our revenue a little bit more. But the halves, like I said, the guys at the top, they talking about $60 million a piece in revenue, and we're talking about $2 million. So we're the bottom of the rung. We are who we are, and we understand that. We're okay with it. We're UAB, boss. But that hurts. For some reason, these folks, this machine in Alabama, don't get it. So then Coach Dilfer says the words that he shouldn't say at a press conference. We ain't Alabama. You're right, we ain't Alabama. We don't even care if we are. But them words have cold bucket meanings for us because we know who on that board of trustees. 90% of that board of trustees that runs the Alabama system, and I wish it wasn't called the Alabama system. It should be called the Alabama UA8 system. But it's not called that. The ones who run that system are 90% Alabama alumni. And even the ones who are UAB got Alabama alumni in their name. They may have graduated from UAB and then went to grad school over there, or vice versa. So this whole notion, this team is suffering a lot right now. I'm watching this team. So I've said some things about the team, and people take them the wrong ways. First of all, the players are playing their hearts out. But sometimes let me explain the effect. So you lost the first game. You pissed off, you lost the first game. Then you play a team like Arkansas. You said, man, I ain't gonna play like that. That's not gonna happen again. Boom. You almost you score all these points on. It's like, whoa, that was Arkansas. Well, next week we just playing Navy. In your brain, no matter how it translates in practice, that you practicing hard, you say, I'm gonna do the same thing I did the week before. When you go out there and play on the field, you forget that guy's practice because he saw what you did the week before. Let me give you an example. 1995. We win our first FBS football game against North Texas. We were an FCS team. That means we were down, a division down, slightly a division down. Went to North Texas and beat them 19-10. Next week, we take our butts down to Troy, Alabama. Get spanked 60, I think it was 60-0 or 66-7, 14, something like that. We didn't do too well. We didn't do too well at all. And like I said, we probably could have beat Troy if we hadn't had the mentality the week before that. Oh, now we don't made it. Now, heck, we had lost plenty of games that year. We went 5-6 that year. 5-6. That was one of the 5 and 6. That was one of the 6 games we lost. We also lost to Alabama State, so egg on our face. We did beat Miles College though. We beat Miles College. Mm-hmm. We also lost to Jacksonville State. So we lost to Jacksonville State, Alabama State, and Troy that year. But we beat like I said, we beat Miles College. Anyway, that's all jokes aside. I love Miles College. Shout out to you guys. Y'all having a great season on. Y'all continue to do that. Homecoming's coming. Yeah. My mom would be proud because she was a Miles College graduate. But when Dilfer made that comment, all the pains and angst, everything I ever always talk about and say, Save UAB. That's my group on Facebook. Everything I ever say on in the groups came up. All the pain and angst of all the things. It's like, here he goes saying that. And I remember how we're treated and how people say, oh, you need a high school coach. Well, you got one because that's what Alabama fans want. For years, that's what Alabama fans. We get a new AD who doesn't really also does not understand the history. Or the fact that even on our school, we have some people, for years when I was there, people were walking around with Alabama shirts, and we had a football team and a basketball team. But you got Alabama shirts on? At UAB? Green and gold, not red and white, or crimson and white, whatever that is. That's not what that is, but they used to have other team logos on it. It's still some, even till this day, that just can't get past themselves. I remember 1995 when they had this big bonfire, and these people standing like, what are we doing this for? Oh, we got a football team? There were Alabama shirts there that day, too. And we've just been okay with it at Alabama for years. But the one thing you don't do, you don't say this ain't Alabama to a bunch of UAB fans, to the UAB crowd. Jim Duncan, you got nothing to have to apologize for. You asked the question. And I understand it took off nationally and the newspaper's taking off with it because they're talking, Skarbinski's talking about it now, but he's right. How dare this man say that with the team in the shape it is, and we feel that the reason why it's in this shape is because the bot down there told our athletic director, you can't afford a real coach, so go get a high school coach. And I've been told that for years by fans. Y'all need to play Miles College. Y'all need to play Tuskegee. Y'all need to play Sanford. They don't understand. They don't know, and I don't care if they know. All they care about is going to Auburn and poisoning trees when they can't win a game. They got 13 national championships or 13 and a half or whatever that is. I don't even care. So I said my piece, right? I said my piece. I wanted to get to the point where I said my piece about that, about not understanding history, and that we got young guys on that football field. Don't take nothing I say personal. Y'all get out there Sunday and play Saturday and play your butts off. I'm gonna be there cheer for. I was there last Saturday cheering for you. I know you heard all the mess in the stand. People saying all kinds of stuff. We always do. That's what fans do. We're fanatics. I had to get used to it too, because you can hear all kinds of nasty coming. It ain't just coming from the other team's team. It'll come from your own team sometime. Okay. Also, guys, don't take it out on the players that hard. Just never get that bad. I never got that bad, but never get that bad. Coach Dilfer, I hope you survive this. That's all I'm saying. But lessons learned. First of all, you brought all your high school assistants to a college team. One of your best assistants. The reason why the running game had 199 yards last week, you got an actual college coach coaching the running backs. It's obvious that this team needs to learn the difference between high school and college football, how to manage that, how to do that. I'm glad you brought your people with you, because I'm sure you thought that was going to be great, but I don't know how it is for recruiting and all that stuff. I don't know what you brought in for that, because I know y'all hire a bunch of guys just to do that. But if you don't have the people in place with the experience and you're a head coach, that's a problem. Because one thing I've always learned is get a guy who's smarter than you at certain things that you don't understand. That's how leadership works. Well, guys, I've been talking for way too long, mumbling on about the UAB football program and all the things that we've been through. But this is why you don't bring up Alabama, because it's the thorn in our side here at UAB. They're not our competition. They're not our competitor. But for some reason, they always got to interfere with us. Because, like I said, they like that dude that went down there and poisoned them trees. They got to always poison somebody else's tree for their own purposes. This is ADB Football Focus. If you like our show, please like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Peace.